Oh, hello, and welcome back to our Dragon Age Inquisition No Death Ruleset playthrough. Brought to you by William Allison and GameAnyone.com with the support of Master Lusarius. Let us continue. Today we're going to start by reading. Isn't that exciting? Read and read. Okay, return collectibles, gain bonuses against the animals you... Equip party members. This is the most ridiculous tip. Okay, so a tier system for items. There was something I wanted to talk about. I will wait until the music lowers a little bit. Something I forgot to talk about because I was too concerned not trying to die last time. But rewatching the odds, the guy that was trying to kill Justinia, if it was indeed her, because that was an old woman and I know Justinia at the very least is in her 50s, if not younger. That guy that said kill the elf, that looks exactly like Corypheus. Almost pixel for pixel like Corypheus. A tall guy with glowing eyes and a claw for a hand. What the hell is this? They must have loaded something different. Yeah. This is it. So yeah, the guy there, he seems pretty much like Corypheus. Crafting materials will reappear after some time, returning to previously... Okay. More supplies. Supplies replenish, respawn. It's good to know. That fucked everything up. Okay, there we go. The game is back. So let's read. Let's read a lot. Characters, yes. It has a little symbol if I hadn't read. Cassandra Pendergast. Lord Seeker Lucius, I am fully aware of the intent behind your predecessor's declaration, which is the declaration of the annulment of the Nevarran Accord, if I remember correctly. Lord Seeker Lambert pried the Templars away from Chantic control and led them into an assault upon all mages, for reasons you would find justified. I, however, am uncertain when the Seekers of the Truth went from guarding against injustice to perpetrating it. If you truly believe that this is not the case, I suggest you look out a window at the chaos the war has caused, and ask yourself if Thaydas will recover even if you are victorious. I remain at the divine hand and will stay there even if you brand me a traitor. I am sorry, but there is too much at stake to swerve from the path we willingly followed at the Chantry's foundation. Okay, but it's true. Lambert got murdered. I remember now. Divine Justinian V rose to power after the death of Divine Beatrix III in the year 934. Little is known of Dorothea's background before she joined the Chantry as an initiate, but she proved to be a liberal and daring thinker, willing to take on a former bard and lay sister Leliana as a close advisor. A headstrong devotion to her own agenda and rumored support of the Mage Rebellion earned her no small dislike from the powerful priests, long used to controlling access to the divine. The year 940 of the Dragon Age, Divine Justinia called a summit, intending to negotiate a truce between the Mage Rebellion uh, and the Templars splintered from the Chantry. The Divine Conclave was held at the Temple of Sacred Ashes, the most holy place in Thedas. Before a resolution could be reached, a cataclysmic explosion destroyed the conclave, consumed the temple, rent the sky, and shattered the world's last hope for peace. Divine Justinia perished in the Temple of Sacred Ashes. The Chantry flounders, leaderless, in the wake of her death, and its fate grows increasingly uncertain. If order is not restored to Thedas, the elves shall have Arlathan again! Okay, Justinia V might be remembered as the Chantry's final divine. High Chancellor Roderick. I like how this art fits the time period. It's actually quite nice. High Chancellor Roderick chant to the Grand Cathedral in Bail Rougeau. It takes more than sermons to keep it alive. There is an invisible army at work ensuring meals are delivered, repairs are made, and faithful attended to, and much of it is done by chantry brothers like myself. The position of High Chancellor places a man beside the Most Holy. I control who is permitted audience, handle her correspondence, deliver her word to Thedas, and serve as her advisor on matters which may be mundane but cannot be disregarded. If I have influence, let it be said, it is something I use sparingly at all. This is a task to which I devote myself with solemnity. I and my fellow bear a burden that so others are free to guide the spirits of Thedas unencumbered. Okay, next. Lavelan of the Dalish. My clan. Clan Lavelan, a group of Dalish who migrate around the perpetually feuding free marches. Lilith's people travel along the borders of each city-state territory, where free march rulers will be less inclined to attack them, for fear of accidentally provoking neighboring cities. Lilith manifested a talent for magic as a child. The clan's leader, Keeper Deshrana, Itzimathrofil Lavalen, taught her how to control and hone her new powers. Lilith grew into a capable mage, far away from the eyes of the Templars and mage circles. When the tension between the two factions erupted into warfare, spinning into the countryside, Clan Lavalen was forced to pick up and move. Lilith's keeper sent her to spy on the conclave at Haven, as the outcome might determine the fate of her own clan. After the explosion that killed the Divine, Lilith was the only survivor at the Temple of Sacred Ashes. Rumors that the mysterious mark on her hand is a sign of the Maker's favor were spread by those who claim they saw the Divine's prophet. Andraste herself led Lavalan out of the Fade. Nice. Solus. Dalish and says that he has never been part of the circle, claiming instead to have studied magic peacefully on his own, particularly magic tied to the Fade. While I suspect you will be reluctant to accept the help of an apostate, Solas did come to us freely. Witnesses saw him in a nearby village at the time of the blast, so he was likely not responsible for what happened at the conclave. However, he has described the effects of the breach in enough detail to convince me that he knows more about the Fade than anyone else present. Solas has requested permission to study the lone survivor and one of the smaller rifts in hopes of finding a way to seal it. He has correctly guessed that it is growing and believes it will destroy the entire world unless we find a way to stop it. Unless you object, I will allow him to study under observation, of course. And Barrick Cethras, with his awesome chest hair, of the Urban Merchants Guild of Kirkwall, is famous or infamous for two things: his books and his association with the champion of Kirkwall. After the Templars and Circles broke away from the Chantry, Divine Justinia sent her agents to Kirkwall, where the roots of the war began, in search of answers. The champion had long since disappeared, but Barrick had written a book on his friend's involvement in the destruction of the Kirkwall Chantry, and the left and right hands of the Divine located him with surprising ease. Well, he's quite flashy. They captured and interrogated him, then brought him to the conclave to give his testimony to the Divine in person, but fate decreed that he would never meet her. Nice. Okay. Next. Uh, Lot Lotus. Do not try to get out of this. We were told you were the best. That is why you were contracted. What is not you who Was it not you who obtained the 200 white blooming rose blushes for the Empress Winter's ball last year? The Comtesse has been infinitely patient till now, but she doesn't understand why it is so hard to fill the garden pool. She wants no more excuses, and no, she will not compromise with her Don Lotuses. They are white. The flowers have to match the silk canopies. It is crucial. Dark purple, dark red. Do not try to frame this as a safety issue. The guest will be perfectly safe. Why? If they experience any hallucinations from the concentration of lotus essence in the air, I'm certain it will only make for the evening more thrilling. I don't care if I have to send someone to Ferel and Pete Buck to get it out. Just do it. A note from a madman. According to gossip in Balroyo, the Chamberlain did succeed in convincing Grand Gardener Bucklane to provide 420 lotus plants. The party was considered by most to be a roaring success, even though the evening concluded with at least 12 guests asleep on the lawn after an orgy, three in the pool, and one lady losing several teeth trying to take a bite out of the marble statue of the Comtesse's father. You know where she was biting, which she was convinced to be made of cake. So a blood lotus is a powerful hallucinogenic, okay? Dragon thorn. The wood of the dragon thorn tree is prized for its strength and has been used to craft bows of remarkable quality, but the leaves are equally valuable. Alchemists have known for centuries that the extract of dragonthorn leaves will enhance and stabilize other, more volatile magical compounds. Okay. Elf root was first used by the elves of Arlatan because we discovered everything under the sun. Hence the name. The root gave their medicines particular efficacy, so when the Imperium conquered the elves, damn fuckers, the Magisters adopted it and its popularity spread to all corners of the empire. Elfroot is a hardy plant with large green leaves that grow wild in many places. It is so common that it tends to show up in most gardens and fields, almost like a weed. Unlike a weed, however, most people appreciate having access to the wonderful little plant. The roots can be used with little preparation. Rubbing some of the juice on a wound, for example, will speed up healing and numb pain. And chewing on a slice of root treats minor ailments like indigestion, flatulence, and hoarse throats. There are several varieties, but most useful for herbalists are bitter, gossamer, and royal elf roots. Interesting. Shit. I skipped. What's this? The Dalish elves. In time, the human empires will crumble. We have seen it happen countless times. Until then, we wait. We keep to the wild border of lands. We raise hell and build arvels and present a moving target to the humans around us. We try to keep hold of the old ways, to relearn what was forgotten. We call to the ancient gods, although they do not answer and haven't heard us since before the fall of Arlatan, so that one day they might remember us. Ergan, the eldest of the Sword, and he who overthrew his father, Mithal, the protector, Fenharel, the dread wolf, Anduril, the huntress, Valentin, the friend of the dead, Dirthamen, the keeper of secrets, Gilgamein, the mother of the Gala, June, the master of craft, and Siles, the heath keeper. We gather every 10 years from the Arlathaven to retell the ancient stories and keep them alive. For when the human kingdoms are gone, we must be ready to teach the others what it means to be elves. Nice. And that's why I'm a terrorist. You see, the Dalish policy is to wait, to stay in the wilds and let the humans kill themselves. No, we need to destroy them. We need to accelerate the natural development of human society until it crumbles from internal dissension, decadence, and utter corruption. The humans need a helping hand while jumping off the cliff. Archers, to fight an enemy with a bow or a crossbow is simple. Why is Okay, doesn't matter. Although not always easy. A guard with a crossbow must crank his weapon after each shot. If there is only one such enemy, seek cover and give him pause to waste his shot, and then close upon him before he can fire again. If there are many close to their flank, so you face one guard directly, use him as a second shield. Another guard has a clean shot at your unprotected back. Do not move to the middle of the ranks and rely upon them hesitating to risk hitting one another. And rely, okay. A soldier with a short bow is a little more dangerous. Attack him as you would an enemy with a crossbow, but accept that he will likely fire again. Luz is going to love this. Approach with your shield up, even if you must sacrifice speed. Few soldiers are true masters of the bow. Those who do not fumble their draw in fear will fire a shot quickly, so it is more likely to glaze off your armor or shield than punch through. Few soldiers have the skill or strength to make good use of a longbow. Respect those who do. Against such an enemy, cover is the only defense. Move quickly across the field of vision, forcing him to compensate for your movement. Mm, do not charge directly unless your allies can distract him. A fully drawn longbow can drive an arrow through a challer's plate in a few from a few hundred yards. A fight between an archer and a chevalier is a test of cunning versus patience. We are too often patient, heavily armored as we are, and faced with lightly armored foes who would harass us. While archers frustrate me as they do most chevaliers, it is a good it is good that we fight them, so we remember how to be cunning, how to break an opponent's patience. Foot soldier, blade. If forced to fight in such a manner, you must decide whether you will fight as a duelist, one-handed, or as a chevalier. If the former, drop your back leg away from to tighten your center target, as you have no shield to cover your body or second weapon to bring into range. Focus on a quick attack and give ground freely when you cannot find an advantage. If the latter, rely on your bambrace and gauntlet as a shield and try to wrench your opponent's weapons away. My left arm bears the scars of such efforts, but my opponents bear worse. Better still, do not lose your shield at all, but battles are not a place of perfection. So this is all excerpts from manuals of fighting, huh? Ride the demon. The most powerful demons yet encountered are the pride demons, perhaps because they, among all their kind, most resemble men. As clever and manipulative as the desire demon, with a penchant for cruel irony that is almost human. While the demons of desire largely engage in the bribery of mortals, pride will use mortals' own base nature against them. Clever men outwit themselves, strong men crush themselves, humble men forget themselves, jealous men fear themselves. They turn corruption and ruin into an art. Shade. It has often been suggested that the only way for a demon to affect the world of the living is by possessing a living or one's living body, but this is not always true. Indeed, a shade is one such creature, a demon that it's true from that has adapted to affect the world around it. My hypothesis is this. We already know that many demons become confused when they pass through the veil into our world. They are unable to tell the living from the dead. The very static nature of our universe being confusing to a creature that is accustomed to a physicality defined entirely by emotion and memory. Most demons seek to seize immediately upon anything they perceive as life. Jealousy attempted to possess it. But what of those who do not? What of those that encounter no life or fail to possess a body? What of those that are more cautious by their nature? These demons watch, they lurk, they envy. In time, such a demon will learn to drain energy from the psyche of those it encounters, just as it did in the Fade. Once it has drained enough, it has the power to manifest and will forever after be known as a shade. Such a creature spurns possession. It instead floats as a shadow across its piece of land, preying upon the psyche of any who cross its path. Perhaps it believes itself is still in the Fade. There is evidence to believe this is so. Wraith. Like wisps, wraiths are sometimes thought to be remains of spirits or demons that have been destroyed. They cannot shape the fate around themselves, nor are they capable of mimicking forms they see in the minds of dreamers, as many weaker spirits do. Instead, they are the scavengers of the fate, dwelling in the shadows of stronger beings, feeding on scraps of thought and emotion. Okay, next. History. I love history. There's only one, but there are 85. We're going to read all of this eventually. The Conclave. It has been a year of little more than chaos. Yes, the mages voted to dissolve the Circle of Maya. But I will point out this vote came only after increased restrictions were placed on them following the unfortunate events in Kabul. I need to know who is. This is Divine Justinian, so it must be a woman's voice. Uh, Following the unfortunate events in Cadwell, what other choice did they have? Yes, the Templar abandoned their duties and elected to pursue the mages to bring them back in line. But after a few thousand years in which their sole role was the mages' keepers, what else could one expect? They envisioned the war over quickly, a single battle that would see the mages' resolve crumble, after which they would meekly return to confinement. That did not happen. This conflict could drag on forever. With advantage on either side, both Templars and mages it is, and thus they have agreed to come to the Conclave. This is our only chance. Words need to be said which have not been said. A compromise must be reached because there is no other choice. I believe with all my heart I am not without fault in all this. Perhaps I push too hard for reform and not hard enough. The Maker has seen fit to give me another chance. I will not squander it. The Temple of Sacred Ashes is where together we will make history, and with luck we will be remembered kindly for it. Hello, O'Neill. This also reminds me. Here we have a blueprint for what we want to do. We want to do exactly the opposite of what Justinia intended. She wanted compromise, she wanted moderates in charge of Templars, mages, and the Chantry. She wanted reform. We need to strangle all those things. We need to put zealots, extremists in charge of the Templars and the mages and the Chantry. People that will not compromise, people that will try to kill each other before surrendering their ideology or even changing it a little bit. That's the people that will help us rebuild the Elven state because they will break down the unity of humanity. And that is their greatest strength, their numbers, their sole purpose of keeping our people oppressed. So we have here a blueprint for what not to do ever. So magic, red lyrium. To answer your question, my lord, yes, I have indeed heard of this red lyrium of which you speak. A single piece of it surfaced in the eastern city of Kergul, and its influence alone was nearly enough to cause the city's destruction. As near as we can determine, it is a regular illusion that has been somehow corrupted. Those who have touched the red lyrium or even come near it report that it sings to them, like whispers in the mind that slowly drive them mad. We don't know, however, what might stem from extended contact with red lyrium. Well, as far as I could see, amazing magical powers. Madness, surely, but would there be a physical corruption as well? What would happen if a mage or a Templar used red lyrium as they use regular lyrium? Far more disturbing is the fact that lyrium could be corrupted at all. The threat of any red lyrium you encounter. Treat any red lyrium you encounter as if it were poison. Do not go near it, do not attempt to destroy it, and most importantly, do not attempt to eat it. So it's basically like uranium. The breach. The veil is not a physical curtain. It is a structure limited to a particular place. Not a structure. It is everywhere. It is in their home, in the streets where they walk, in the farmers' fields, as well as remote mountain vales. At any moment it could be turned to shreds, allowing demons and other horrors to flood into our world like water through a burst dam. Now lore tells us that small rifts can be sealed, but what about a large one? What if some catastrophic magical event created a rift so large and horrific it weakened the integrity of the veil as a whole? Such a breach would threaten our entire world, turning concerns about occasional demonic intrusion into a charming anecdote compared to the monsters we would then face. If there is anything to be done, any reason we should look at magic with fear, it is for that possibility more than any other. This also reminds me of something. The blueprint for destroying the Temple of Sacred Ashes and creating that thing in the sky must be what Anders did in Kerkul. It must be. It's kind of the same, sending a whole building into the void. I wonder if a demon or maybe Anders himself tried to pull the stunt a second time. It seems highly likely that's what it it's a striking resemblance between the two acts of terrorism. Haven. I would like to speak to you of Haven, the village in the Frostbacks, close to the Temple of Sacred Ashes. We are all aware of its past. It was home to the disciples of Andraste, as they called themselves, descended from the people who built the temple itself. They had strayed over years of isolation from their once noble roots to become dragon worshippers. After the hero of Ferelden discovered the temple, which the disciples guarded jealously, what remained of the cult moved on, and Haven was abandoned to the ice and the snow. I passed through Haven on my pilgrimage to see the temple. There was a storm, and I took shelter in the hall of Haven's chantry. Though they were dusty from neglect, the walls of that lonely place were strong and shielded me from the biting winds. Peace came upon me, and my eyes were opened to Haven's incredible beauty. It could not be overcome by the pain and horror of the past. It could not be masked by decay or disuse. It would not be forgotten. Haven is precious to Orlais, to the Chantry, and to the Sunburst throne for its historical and religious significance. It is my will that Haven be restored, rededicated to the service of Andraste, and preserved for the ages. Let it be a sanctuary for the pilgrims who seek out the Temple of Sacred Ashes. May they rest here beneath the cold, bright skies. May the glory of the Maker be revealed to them as they gaze upon the great peaks that are the work of his hand. Now and forevermore, let this be a haven for the faithful. Well, that's a good speech. Temple of Sacred Ashes rediscovered, and his followers built a temple to house her remains. There were there the legend ends. For centuries men searched for at the temple, finding only rumors and told tales. Chantry scholars concluded that there was no temple. There were no sacred ashes. It was all a myth, a allegory intended to inspire and feed the fire of faith. Then the hero Ferelden came and corrupted the ashes. Seeking to cure a dying Earl with the miraculous powers of the ashes, the hero, with the help of renowned scholar brother Ferdinand Genitivi, traced the steps of the ancients and came to a remote ruin high in the frostbacks. There the urn awaited, as the legend said it would. Upon his return to the Nerim, brother Genitivi killed himself. Uh, what? Shared what he had learned. Sadly, the stories of snowbound ruins, spirit guardians, and the hero Ferelden's sinister blood pact with a dragon worshipping cult. And I actually changed this. Were too deemed too outlandish to be true, and his account was dismissed. Brother Geniti died by his own hand shortly thereafter. Maker guide him. Well, first thing I've seen that they imported from my playthrough. The chantry treatment of these dedicated scholars will forever be a stain of on its history. Several years after Genitivi's passing, we began re-examining his writings. The Templars searched the Frostbacks, following on his footsteps, and found the temple. The sacred ashes, however, were long destroyed, as Genitivi had written. After the triumph of the righteous over the fifth blight, the temple's discovery was shared with the world. Much to our dismay, soldiers arrived at the temple. The urn had disappeared. To this day, we don't know who took them or why. All that is certain is that it was the Maker's will. The hero Ferelden did not share the discovery with the world, and brother Genitivi, whose research made it possible, fucking Genitivi destroyed my reputation. I made sure no one that I took to the temple cared about the fucking ashes. Not even Wynne complained, and this bastard wrote it, and now the whole chantry knows the hero Ferelden corrupted the ashes. What a fucking asshole. I'm going to search his soul in the Fade, and I will torture it and destroy it and send him into utter oblivion. Yeah, the Codex is definitely a fun part of the Dragon Age experience. I agree with you, O'Neill. Alright. Uh, Truth, however, will always out, and rumors circulated about the cause of Earl Eamon Garin's miraculous recovery. Agents of the Chantry investigated claims of the Urn of Sacred Ashes and were eventually led, as the hero had been led, to the temple. By the time our soldiers reached it, however, the urn was nowhere to be found. Though the ashes were gone, the temple itself stood, and it has since become a source of hope for the faithful. If the Grand Cathedral is the beating heart of our chantry, then the temple is her soul. Here we honor the chantry's past, even as we forge bravely. into our future. Mother Clotilde. Okay, I think that's all. And tutorials. Let's see if there is anything. Yeah, guard is basically more health. Resistances, I understand resistances. Greater resistance. Okay, immunity. Mhm. A barrier, more health. What about this? Holy shit. A lot of things. Uh-huh. 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 Hold. Okay, I need to hold it. Only 19 tutorials, that seems a little bit on the short side. Okay. Alright, so let's get out of this place.